Okay, this is a ProFlow toilet that I've taken the tank off of to show you the opening here. This opening is, as you can see, just barely 2 fingers wide. When I get this out there, I will show you with a tape measure the opening of the bottom of the toilet. But as you can see, the flush valve sits there and it's not going to go, and that is a ProFlow, which is a Ferguson brand of toilet. Okay, here's a classic example of why this ring should be screwed down. If you see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes in this metal ring that should be screwed down to the concrete. That's the way the manufacturer recommends that they do. What happens is, if you don't screw that down, you get things like this that happen. The toilet began to rock, and it actually broke the PVC. This plastic is not meant to hold the weight of a human and the weight of the toilet that can rock back and forth. These 2 bolts are just meant to tie it down. That's why you have to screw this flange down. This is very common on first floor toilets in Frisco, Texas, Plano, and McKinney. It is very rarely that we go out to remove a toilet that we find this flange has been screwed down on the first floor. One of the things that can happen is this PVC will actually start to move through the concrete over time. If they've wrapped a plastic sleeve around it especially, it will start to move around there. So what I'm going to have to do is cut this flange out of there and put a new one in. Okay, here's that toilet flange that has been properly screwed down. You can see we have these screws mounted in here. We've squared the flange, and I also want to show you, you may hear the term 10-inch rough, 12-inch rough, 14-inch rough, or some of your typical rough ends. What that means is when the original plumber put the piping in, from the center of the flange to the wall is that measurement, which is where the bolt holes line up. In this case, this is not your average. This is a 10-inch rough toilet. The most common is 12-inch rough, which we usually like to set ours about 13 inches from the center of the wall to the back to give a little bit of space so that the toilet tank is not resting up against the wall, which is what most of the manufacturers recommend as far as having a little bit of a gap there. But if you can see here, this one is, right at about 9.5 to 10 inches off. So we're going to have to put a 10-inch rough in here, and that meant that we could not use the American Standard Champion 4 toilet. We could use the American Standard Cadet 3 has a 10-inch version, and that is one of the better flushing toilets as far as a 10-inch rough. We would love to put a Champion 4 in here. Unfortunately, they do not make that in a 10-inch rough yet, and I'm not sure why. Okay, this is the Champion 4 toilet. If you notice, the opening is 3 1/4, which compared to the other one, my whole hand will fit in with a little bit of room. Now I'm going to flip it over and show you the bottom. The opening on this bottom one is 2 3/8. In some cases, they're even bigger than 2 3/8. And I will show you why that is important. This is the opening that you typically have, which is a 3-inch opening that is in the bottom of the toilet. So once you get past the toilet, you have a big open pipe down there that will accept all the stuff. Okay. Can you see me? Yeah. Okay, this is your standard. This is a ProFlow, which is made by Briggs toilet. Let me flip this up here, and I'll show you the opening on this one. if you look here, we are just over 2. It's actually 2 1/16 that way, and going this way it is 2 1/16. And the trapway inside here is not glazed, which means that it's not the same stiffness as the outside of the toilet. It's kind of rough. And so that can gather toilet paper and things. That's why it's important to have a big opening with a big trapway. Let me flip this over here real quick, and I'll show you the opening that uses the power. If you can see on this, this measurement here is less than 2 inches. It's approximately 1 3/4 inches, which is about just a little bit bigger. 3 fingers will fit in there of a large hand. And that's pretty much what we run into all across Frisco and Plano and McKinney, is the small trapway, the small openings, and those create all kinds of clogs. And in some cases, some of these toilets out there will actually create what's called a funnel effect, where you have a large opening going into a tiny opening, and that's just not good plumbing. I'm Plumbing by Jay, your concierge for toilets.